And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're talking about Deadpool Dice Masters. Is there anyone in the world surprised at this? With the huge success of the movie this year, and Deadpool's also a very popular character, now you can have a new set that includes Deadpool and Dogpool and Kidpool and Lady Deadpool, but also Wolverine, because it's been a set since he's been in the game. Alright, I have snark here, but I do like Dice Masters a lot, so I'm always excited about a new expansion. Let's see what's in this one. Okay, first we're going to look at the dice. Here's all the different dice that are included with the game. I particularly like Phantom Mex's die here. I like dual-toned dice. There's also Lockjaw has a dual-toned brown die. I'm not a big fan of this clear die, the yellow one. So not every die is one that I like, but most of the dice are good. I wish they would stop doing these clear ones because they're harder to see. Although that is I do like the character, MODOK, but yeah, and then some of the colors are cool. I especially like this bright yellow one here. But anyway, that's what the dice look like. Okay, well, I'm not going to go over every single card, but I want to show you some of the characters and some of the cards in the game, then I'll go over my 10 favorite cards. First of all, we have some new abilities in the game. We have Deadly. This is kind of the same as one of the special abilities for Magic the Gathering, that if you are fighting someone who has Deadly, you're going to die. Doesn't matter how much damage you can do. And I really like that, and it especially works for Deadpool. I find these two cards fascinating for Deadpool because they cost the same. This one's Deadly, and this one says when fielded, deals 2 damage to all players. Which would you use in your deck? They cost the exact same. This one does 2 damage to all players, but also yourself. In a multiplayer game, yes, obviously this one's better, but I don't know. Which one would you use? Then we have Colossus, who's in the set. Well, he showed up in the movie. When he's fielded, it does 2 damage to all level 1 character dice. Ha, ha, ha. I do like that. Take out the small ones. Storm is also in this set for no reason at all. But she can target an energy that someone's been keeping, a wild energy, and basically change it to a energy face. Now, that's not a huge ability, especially since she's only 2. But if your opponent is keeping the wild to use for a global ability, there you go. Bob, Agent of Hydra, is one of my favorite characters in the Marvel Universe because he's just always there to basically help Deadpool and get beat up. Deadpool does fine. Bob, Agent of Hydra, doesn't do so well. And also, when he's there, he gives the Deadpool characters fast. You'll notice that there's a lot of cards in this set that will help Deadpool characters out. So the Deadpool team, you want to make a team of those, you can make a pretty powerful team. The Stepford Cuckoos are basically small mini versions of the White Queen character. They're a bunch of teenage girls who all work together. And here, when you field it, each player can move a character die to the prep area. Each character die, you move a die you control to the prep area, but this one only costs 2. Scarlet Witch is here. She does 1 damage to all players, and non-strength character dice, and 2 damage to all strength character dice. This one I'm just including because it says No More Mutants, which affected the Marvel Universe for about a decade. There's more equipment in this set, I think, than any other set. I think there's 3 or 4 of them. Usually there's only 2. We have the Satchel of Unlimited Weaponry. This one here is a gun. There's also a sword. We also have another ally. These are basically people that are just in the way, but she counts as a sidekick here. And Negasonic Teenage Warhead, which is possibly one of the dumbest names for a superhero ever. But she has Underdog, which you use if your opponent has more than you do, and she can go all the way up to level 3 and gain fast. That's pretty powerful. And then another piece of motorcycle equipment here, where basically if you attack with someone and they're blocked, you can basically get that die out of there on the motorcycle. Mr. Sinister, back for more. He can re-roll any number of dice in a field zone. Back for more is a new ability in this one. When you roll a die from your prep area, you are required to do back for more. It's not an optional thing. But being able to re-roll dice is not bad. Thanks, Mr. Sinister. Miguel O'Hara, he's the new Spider-Man from Spider-Man 2099, although he's now in our universe. It's a little confusing. He's fast, which means he hits before his opponent. He also has back for more, do 1 damage to a target opponent. Pretty cool. You field him, do damage to someone else. I bet you'll see him in a lot. Medusa has the deadly skill that Deadpool has Madam Hydra. When she does combat damage to an opponent, she spins all their character dice down one level. Yeah. Shikla, who married Deadpool, don't ask why, it's a very long thing, can spin Deadpool dice up a level. Lady Deadpool, I'm a little confused as to the difference between Lady Deadpool and Deadpool. Okay, no, I'm not that confused, but what I mean is I'm not really sure where she fits in the story other than being one, but again, she helps out. Hey, it's another Bob, agent of Hydra. Wait, there's lots of these guys. And he's basically there just to help the Deadpool characters out. Blind Owl, I'm just sticking this one in here because the title of it's called Laxatives in Your Food, which is pretty funny. Then we have Black Tom Cassidy. He actually fought Deadpool once, which is probably why he's in this set, but all his special abilities are anti-X-Men characters. Then we have Black Bolt. Don't ask him any questions. You don't want to hear the answer. His voice is super powerful, but he can give all the other characters the same symbol as him fast, which is amazing if there was more characters with that symbol on them. Angela here is kind of an assassin character who shows up. Angel Dust, which is really, if you think about it, a terrible name for a character, but her life, if your life total is less than your opponent's, you get +2 attack, +2 defense. That's pretty cool ability. Agent X, you can pay a life to draw a die and roll it, which is that worth it? Agent Carter, hello Agent Carter. She helps out sidekicks with her abilities. X23, she costs cheaper if you have 2 or more dice in your opponent prep area. Wolverine helps out Deadpool characters. What? That doesn't even make any sense. Here's Wolverine, Lord of Vampires, which is it's like the ultimate / fan fiction, I guess, but this is one of the ultra rares. This is the one I got in the box here. Dogpool. Yeah, let's move on. Domino. Again, you'll notice that this back for more ability is actually used on quite a few cards, including here, you can re-roll this die an extra time. I really like that ability. We also have Elektra. She can't be blocked by non-Deadpool dice, which makes her extremely powerful. And here you can pay a strength if she's KO'd, which gives her regenerate. We also have Evil Deadpool with a back for more, and Phantom X, who is essentially like a Deadpool type character. He's like the next evolutionary step up from Wolverine in the thing. Hit Monkey. He's a monkey and a hitman. He's fast. I just really like that character. I'm going to use him for that purpose. Kidpool. This just saddens me that this is even in the set. Lady Bullseye. Interesting stats on her. You'll notice that she's a 5 attack and 1 defense. And when fielded, here, target opposing character die must block this turn. I do like that one. Okay, so those are some of the characters. Let's show you now my top 10 favorite cards from this set. First of all, we have Lockjaw. Lockjaw here, before your opponent can clear and draw, you can name a non-sidekick die, and if they draw that die, you do 2 damage to all your opponent's character dice, and each of your Lockjaw dice gets +2 attack. I don't know, I always like calling something out, like, oh, I think you're going to get a Wolverine die, and if you do, hey, everyone takes damage, ha ha ha. I just like that aspect. Mr. Sinister, when he's active, your opponent cannot re-roll their dice. What? That's really cool, and I like it. Annoys your opponent. MODOK. This guy has a gigantic brain here. When he's active, you can spin him to the same level as a target character die and then spin them down to his original level. So you're really hoping to get this guy out at level 1. And then you can up him to level 3 and drop your opponent to level 1. It's really not that effective, honestly, but it's still fun to do. Outlaw, when they come on, you can pay an energy to basically roll a die in your target area, and if you roll an energy face, it's gone. So she can kind of snipe somebody. Also really cool artwork here. And Scarlet Witch has that same thing where you can move a target strength character from their prep area to their bag. So both of these I like a lot. The Flying Car, here you can give a target character +3 attack, +3 defense, but they lose their abilities. Now that's interesting. I mean, because if you give this to a weak character, so Flying Car with a character who doesn't have special abilities, this is amazing for them. And even if the special ability is not that fantastic, or maybe it's one that when they're fielded, they get this. Either way, really enjoy the Flying Car. Free Chimichangas, Age to Perfection. You just give a character +2 defense and deadly. Very cool. I like the ability to give anybody deadly. X23 regenerates, which when she's KO'd, you can re-roll and she might still be alive. But if she regenerates successfully, you draw an extra die. Very useful. Blind Owl. When she's dealt combat damage, you do 1 damage to the target opponent. That's great. I always block with her. Even a sidekick, you got to be very careful. when you're attacking when she's on there, because every time she blocks, you're going to take damage. And then my number one favorite card, but before I do that, Multiple Man, who's one of my favorite characters in Marvel Universe, is in the game. Okay, anyway. I have a tie, a three-way tie, and they're all the same character, Taskmaster. When Taskmaster's fielded, he gets abilities of a target character die. He gets everything. Or this one, when fielded, he can use the when fielded ability of another die. And this one here, when he attacks, you can use when attacks on another die. Basically, they're all the same variations. This one's the best, but it costs 6. But essentially, he can copy other dice. And if you know anything about what I like in games like this, I love when you can copy other players' abilities, which makes him my favorite character. The back for more special ability is not mind-blowing. It's, something that happens when they come into play. That's cool. And I like that. I actually like Deadly a lot more. Deadly has always been one of those things I liked in Magic the Gathering, like, Death Touch or whatever it's called there. When you attack me, no matter how weak I am, I'm going to take you out. If your opponent has big, massive creatures or big, massive superhero characters, it's a good way to take them down. So I really like that. I like a lot of cards in the set. The set is not it can be self-contained. Like, you can take a whole bunch of Deadpool stuff and make a Deadpool-centric team, but you also have a lot of different characters that are going to work with a lot of other sets. This is still not going into that too complex zone. Very few of these things were complex, and I like the fact that they have more equipment. I've always wished that there was more equipment in the game. And in fact, I'm also a little bit, just kind of have a sense that I'm going to like this set anyway, because they put in some of my favorite characters. Mr. Sinister, Multiple Man, Colossus. I do like Deadpool, the character. Black Tom Cassidy, I'm glad he's in the game finally. So I really enjoy that have these. Did we need another Storm? Did we need another Wolverine? Probably not, but they need to keep putting in these characters, I know, so that people buy the sets. But I do enjoy that several of the characters, let's see. I mentioned I like Multiple Man. Medusa's Glad's in there. Stepford Cuckoos are weird characters, but I like having them. Agent X, Phantom X. So there's a lot of cool characters in this set. So at this point in time, you like this game or not. The foils don't bother me one way or the other. Some people don't like the fact, but you don't have to collect the foils. And if you don't like foils, you probably can trade them away to people who do like them and get the regular cards in their place. I'm sure people will be glad to do that. This is a solid set. Is it my favorite? Probably not. But is it a great one? Yeah, because I like the game a lot and there's a lot of cool things. Anyway, check it out. That's Deadpool Dice Masters. Dice Tower Judgment into my collection.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.